Hi and welcome, it's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. I thought I'd go over just some of the very basics of the theory of the 40 degrees. Means we're getting close to now nearly 9 months. We'll find out tomorrow whether it has covered another 5.1 miles when we take the SD cards out of the Trimag system. As you can see from these two diagrams that we're looking at, Earth has a magnetic field very similar to a bar magnet. And it does, unlike somebody else said the other day, it does have strong and weak field lines, and those are focused over the northern and southern hemispheres, just like on the bar magnet to the left. The weak field lines run around the equatorial region of our planet, and you could also say that for the bar magnet as well, in the centre. So the theory is this. And I've explained it a few times, I just thought I'd go over it again. So we've watched nearly for the last 920 years the magnetic North Pole migrating over the northern hemisphere. And through studying an anomaly with a compass, I discovered that when it got to a certain point, we'll show you that clip of that video I did with the experiment. When it got to a certain point, a strange occurrence happens at around about 40 degrees. So when it starts to get into those weak field lines, it reverses. Now what I'm suggesting in my theory is that whatever's responsible for creating the magneto, which generates the dipoles and the magnetosphere, whatever generates that has already rotated close to that 40 degree mark, or that distance that we've measured over the northern hemisphere of 40 degrees. And what the theory I suggested is that possibly it would do exactly as it does in the experiment once it crosses that threshold. Now you can see where the intensity over the north and southern hemispheres, where the magnetic intensity increases, where them lines get really close over the northern and southern hemispheres, those are your strong field lines. Now I worked out that they're around about 40 degrees from one side where the pole originally started to migrate to where it is now. And that's why I believe whatever's responsible for generating the dipoles on our planet might cross the same threshold as what the experiment shows. I'm going to show you that experiment now, but I just wanted to clarify a couple of things about the Earth's magnetic field in relationship to the strong field lines and where they're located, and where the weak field lines are located. So I'm going to start the video where you can see what we've got is a magnet rotating. Now I've stopped it just before 40 degrees. You can see that the magnetic compass doesn't flick over, but when it goes beyond 40 degrees it does that flick. Now what I'm suggesting in my theory is, in the core the magneto is actually rotating, and what we've been witnessing for the last 120 odd years is that movement. And what's happened is the dipoles have followed the magneto, and as a result I'm suggesting that it could do the exact same as what we're looking at in that experiment. Now Ben Davison says a lot of things the other day that I don't think debugs this theory. The only real way to find out if this theory is going to play out as we suggest it might do is by just waiting a few more months. We're 9 months away from reaching that threshold, possibly where whatever in the core has been rotating will reach a distance or equivalent to 40 degrees over the northern hemisphere, as we've been witnessing. So let's just see if this is the case. I will say this, I did watch a few videos. I think it was from a company called NOAA that had done some research on the magnetic North Poles, and there was, I think in Europe somewhere, drilling core samples of lava flow, and what they suggested is that the magnetic pole actually flipped quite quick after it got to a certain degree. Again, that would uphold this theory with what they're saying. They actually said in this video, if I can find it, I'll put the link in the description for you. What they said is actually you could witness if you had a compass in your hand, you'd actually witness the compass moving with your eye. I mean, that must be moving moderately quick if that's the case. So they suggested that, I think it was during an excursion as well, that is how the pole had migrated. So, you know, we've got to wait a few more months. We're 9 months away, so it's well worth you know, waiting for that to see if this theory is correct. If it is, then, you know, there's a lot more new understanding to be had about the Earth's magnetic fields and how they reverse. You know, this is an original, genuine theory and was based on some logic which was arrived from this experiment that you're looking at. And I'm just wondering whether this will be the case for the Earth. One other thing to note before I end this video is that, have you noticed that as it gets close to 40 degree on the compass, it starts to speed up towards that 40 degree? Well, in the 90s we saw an acceleration where the pole covered more distance over a shorter space of time. And just recently, in the last 8 or 9 months, we've also seen probably a 20% increase in the migrational speed. Again, that fits what we're looking at with this experiment. Nobody has debugged anything. And you know who that person is I'm talking about. Who, you know, I am sadly now having to go to speak to a solicitor Monday along with the video that he put out there and take matters further, because that wasn't just questioning the results of my theory, that was going well beyond that. I think you'll agree. It was pretty disgusting. It was not far short, or in fact I feel it was a case of cyberbullying. It's been reported to YouTube, and you know, I intend to take matters a little bit further. And despite what this individual says, this was not about attacking somebody. Well, it was, and it was a malicious attack on my character, and everything he said was incorrect and not true. And he's going to have to now convince a jury soon about his actions and what he said, because I had to put up with many people, probably 200 people coming over from his channel, harassing me over this. And as he's done so many times before, you can see in his own words, he says this is the 5th time I've done this video about him. He is repeatedly coming after me, and I haven't got a problem with anybody, you know, debating a theory that I've got. But when this goes to a whole new level, and we no longer are debating something, but you are slandering somebody, then that is a different kettle of fish, so to speak. And it's for that reason that I'm going to make an example here, because, you know, I don't think anyone would like to be cyberbullied by anyone, or picked on, or treated in the manner in which this individual did the other day when he done that video and broadcast it. Guys, join me tomorrow. We're going to pull the SD cards out of the Trimag system and the magnetosphere sensor. We're going to have a look at that data. You know, we are still continuing with our work here. You know, I think we are looking at some very exciting times in the not too distant future. One way or another, we'll see if that theory plays out, and if not, it's not the end of the world. If you want to help support what we do here at the observatory, there's a link down there in the description, and we hope that you do. And join me tomorrow. I'll say what I usually do. You have a good day. As always, bye for now.